Hi, friends. Welcome to the Anchor Moments Weight Loss Book Club. Today, we are going over chapter 16 of Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. And chapter 16 is only 5 pages long, and it is about withdrawal. And I will tell you, just about every word in those 5 pages were pretty darn important. I like to highlight my chapters before I go live, so that way I know the important parts that I want to be sure to share with you. And there's a lot of yellow on these pages, because this is a chapter I'm going to have to read a couple more times even. So because it's an important one, and it's a different thought process than I normally have of withdrawal. Alan Carr mentions the reason his books are called The Easy Way, like The Easy Way to Quit Smoking and The Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. The reason that it's the easy way is because you don't really have withdrawal. What you have is a feeling of relief and freedom. That instead of being scared of withdrawal, instead, you're going to be able to feel joy. Now, this is a foreign concept to me, not a foreign concept to feel joy, because I'm a pretty joyful person, but it's I am one of those people that fear withdrawal. I have to work really hard to wrap my head around this concept. Now, having been an emotional eater for decades, this will be really big. I've always, if this is your first time watching, my name is Gina, and I have type 2 diabetes. I'm also been taking a type 2 diabetes medication, Mounjaro. It has a twin sister called zepbound, and zepbound is for people who battle obesity. They can take Mounjaro, essentially. It's tirzepatide. It's the exact same medication. But if you don't have, what they found was people who have type 2 diabetes, when they take this medication, it was making them lose a lot of weight. And so doctors started prescribing it off label. And then Eli Lilly was like, hey, we got a thing here. So they went ahead and did a bunch of studies on people who were not diabetic, but battle obesity, to make sure that if someone who didn't have diabetes but was very overweight, if they took the medication, they wouldn't get such horrible sugar lows that it'd kill them or something, to see is it healthy for someone who's not diabetic to be able to take this medication as well. So anyway, I have been on a Mounjaro journey. I do have type 2 diabetes, and Mounjaro has really helped. And it has helped with a lot of the food noise that makes me want to eat snacks all day long and eat junk food and things. And it helps to quiet it. But I am such an emotional eater, and I have been for so long, that if I have extreme emotions of gladness, like celebrating, going to a party, and there's all kinds of treats at the party, or sadness, if I'm very, very sad, like I've had friends die, things like that, very sad. I'm there at the refrigerator with the door open. Or if procrastination, not so much boredom anymore. That kind of disappeared. But if I'm procrastinating, like I know I need to do the laundry or I need to catch up on emails or something, I'll see myself run to the kitchen first, like, oh, I should have a snack before I'll do whatever it is, oh, I should be doing that. But first, you know, I think I probably should eat a little something. I don't know. It's kind of dumb. Because if you're not truly hungry, if your body is not truly hungry, that's silly to just take in some calories as a procrastination. But it is something that I have done for decades, a bad habit per se. So, anyway, I've been very honest. I'm not reading ahead, so I am right with you each week. We just do one chapter a week. This is a book club for very busy people, so it's only a one chapter a week book club, and we do. I go live on Sunday afternoons, 2 o'clock Arizona time, which right now is Mountain Standard Time, which is 1 o'clock Pacific. 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern, and 9 o'clock in the UK. So, and I do have some UK friends, and I see that I have one in the house already. Hey, Lucy, from the UK. So that's why I do it on Sunday afternoons instead of in the evening. So my UK friends can catch me live too. So anyway, this book has been challenging. But at the same time, I can see that it could really make a huge difference in my life and in other people's lives. So but I've been sharing what I think, what I truly feel about each chapter, about how it's touching me. And I can tell you that on Mondays, I do Mounjaro Monday lives where I take my shot on Monday evenings, every single Monday. And I've been doing that for 54 weeks now. And I have a lot of regulars who show up for that too. And it's a question and answer. And we're really a very supportive community. We are so helpful to each other. And it's been wonderful. And one person in that community was a little concerned that it was a little bit triggering to hear me talk, to start to change my language and say things more like good food, bad foods, because uh, so many of us have had challenges where we have been shamed by other family members or friends or people we don't know who aren't very kind to us when we are severely, severely overweight. And it's been a hard journey, and it's a very hard journey, especially for us emotional eaters. And so we've tried different things and they didn't work. And we often bully ourselves because we can have willpower for a little bit until it drives us nuts, and then we lose it. And it's so frustrating. And it's so frustrating to lose a lot of weight and then gain it back. And, when there's some addictions you can have that nobody can see. So, like, say you were addicted to gambling. Well, you could secretly go to a casino, and the only people who are going to see you is other people at the casino, and no one would have to know that you had an addiction to gambling. You can have addiction um, to shopping, and maybe you're shopping all the time and spending more money than you have. But unless someone can see your bank account, they don't know that you have an addiction to shopping. But a food addiction, you're wearing it. It's You can't hide it. You can't hide that you're addicted to taking in more calories than your body needs. You can't hide it. It shows up. and you can be successful for a while and start losing weight, and then something jumps in your way and changes your momentum, and then all of a sudden the weight just starts piling back faster than you can stop, and it's so hard. It's so hard. So I do want to say that out there to my brothers and sisters out there. And I always have to say too, I'm not a medical person. I'm your sister from another mister who's always willing to be honest with you and to care about you. I used to be a classroom teacher, and so I'm very good at researching things, and I'm from a medical family. My mom's a retired nurse practitioner, and so it's easy for me to look things up. But you always should double check with your own doctor. And I always say that because I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe exact things to you, but I can share honestly my thoughts and feelings during the journey. And I'm here to journey with you. Okay? And this chapter is a challenging chapter for me on withdrawal, and to be the feeling of being free of addiction to eating forever is so hard for me to wrap my mind around. Now, I have had this Anchor Moments YouTube channel for years. I started it in November of 2019 after I wrote a book, Anchor Moments, Hope, Healing, and Forgiveness. And the story I'm going to tell you is something that this chapter reminded me of in a positive way that I'm going to take with me as I work on getting rid of this emotional addiction forever. When Jeff and I started the YouTube channel after my Anchor Moments, Hope, Healing, and Forgiveness book came out, anchor moments are the moments in your life that have anchored your faith. And I would interview people. It was during the pandemic when I really started getting my YouTube channel going. During the pandemic, I would interview people from around, most around the US, but I'd take someone in a foreign country. I just didn't know anybody at that time in a foreign country, but I had a lot of different people from around the US, and I had them on, and they would share a special moment in their life that anchored their faith. And Jeff would, my husband Jeff would edit those videos, and we would have a way to celebrate as soon as we'd get a video up. And it takes Jeff hours to edit videos, hours and hours and hours. A 10-minute video would take him like 10 hours before, it's a big deal. That's why I've been doing these lives, and my channel has taken off a year ago when I started doing Mounjaro, because if I do a live, we don't have to edit it. It's just raw and real and easy. All Jeff has to do is create a thumbnail for me, and the rest I'm able to do on my own. And but when he does edit a video, and it's taken him hours and hours and hours, like he used to before I did lives, they were all done in advance, and then Jeff would edit, and he would make them shorter and more concise. If I repeated myself, he'd take away the part that I repeated, and it would take him a very long time. And as soon as he would get that video up, we would celebrate. And the way that we would celebrate is we would go to his favorite donut shop. And when we would go to the donut shop, his very, very favorite one, we would each pick our favorite donut, and we would each have usually just one donut. Sometimes we would have two donuts, and because I have a couple of favorite donuts. And at about the beginning of October of 2020, probably the end of September, around the end of September of 2020, we got a video done and we went to Bosa and we were so excited. It was a really good one. And we each picked 2 donuts. Well, this donut shop was used to us coming and they were extra nice to us. And the lady who bagged the donuts gave us some extra bonus donuts. And so when we got home, we had bonus donuts, and son of a gun, they were all of our favorites. And for the first time in my life, I ate 3 donuts. And I'd never eaten 3 donuts before, but I usually would eat 1, but sometimes I'd eat 2. I'd never eaten 3 before, but I ate 3 donuts. And I was sitting in that chair right there. And all of a sudden, my feet felt like they were on fire. It was the weirdest thing. I'm just sitting in the chair and it was like, and it was like an electrical fire. It felt like electricity was going through my feet and flames. And I was like, what the heck was that? And it scared me. And it scared me enough. I had realized I had not been to the doctor for a well visit check in over 1.5 years. And I've always been one where I go once a year. I'm very frugal, and you're in America, and a lot of health insurances will give you 1 free doctor visit a year for a well visit check. And I realized I hadn't had one for over 1.5 years. And I thought, I better get this checked, because it was really weird. It went away. It didn't last, thank goodness, but it was scary. And I thought, oh, that doesn't seem right. And so I went to my wellness visit, and they did all the blood work and things. And then on October 13th, I got the phone call from my doctor's office that I needed to come in right away because I had flaming type 2 diabetes. My A1C was 10.2. And so I went from being not diabetic to 10.2 A1C is, it's over double blood sugar. My fasting blood sugar was over 200, and it's supposed to be less than 100. And your A1C is what the last 90 days, average 90 days of your blood sugar is. And it's like on this scale. And 10.2 is what they call the suicide range once you hit over 10, because you can lose organs from that, and you can lose limbs from having diabetes that bad. And I remember the date being October 13th, 2020, because my daughter was getting married on October 17th of 2020. And so it was the week that my firstborn child was getting married. And I remember being scared. Oh, and my knees hurt so bad. My knees would wake me up at night. They were so painful. And it was hard for me. It was hard for me to walk. My knees hurt so bad. And so I had to have my knees checked too. It was my knees hurting, and then having my feet on fire the day that I had the 3 donuts. And sure to find out, I have flaming type 2 diabetes, from nothing to wow. And so I'm going to take the memory of eating those 3 donuts and having my feet burst into flames with me. Today, my husband and I are switching churches, and we found a church that we really, really like with a priest there who was friends with our favorite priest who passed away, Father John Coleman. I do have a video. I did get to do an anchor moment video with him gosh, I think like a year or two before he died. And it is on my Anchor Moment Minutes, him sharing a special Anchor Moment for him. But anyway, this new Catholic church that we're going to has donuts and coffee after every service. And the other church that we go to doesn't do that. But we really enjoy Father Eric and his homilies, so we want to go to that church. But but after Mass, when we walk outside the church, there's the donuts and coffee. And I love chatting with people and making new friends and stuff. But I look over at those donuts and I think, I don't know. Let's go home. I need to get ready for doing my book club. And so I walked past it. But I'll tell you, today, when I walked past those donuts, they didn't call me. I didn't feel deprived at all. I didn't feel like I wanted one. Actually, if I'd read the chapter, and to be honest, I hadn't read the chapter yet, so I knew I needed to hustle my tush home so I could read my chapter so I could be ready for today's talk. But when I walked past those donuts, they didn't call me even the slightest bit. I didn't feel like, oh, darn it, I wish I could have a donut and eat one and chit chat with people. Instead, I thought, I do want to chit chat with people, but they did say they were going to have a new parishioner dinner on Wednesday, and I'm going. I'm super excited about that. And I figure I'll make friends too. Yeah, it won't be just donuts. They'll actually have protein, I'm sure, maybe some vegetables and stuff. So I'll be going to that. But I won't be, so I am going to socialize and figure out ways to get involved with the church. So there's other ways other than eating a donut. And next Sunday, I'm sure I could chit chat with people drinking a cup of coffee, and those donuts aren't going to call me. That to me is a miracle. That is a miracle. But taking from Alan Carr's Easy Way is to really look at food that has zero nutritional value in it and go, why would I want to eat that? That's not truly going to give me pleasure. It's part of what's given me pain, and the pain of not being healthy. And so now when I walk by those, and I didn't even think about the fire, which was kind of cool too. When I walked by the donuts today, because the first time we went to that church and I walked by the donuts, I was like, oh, they got sprinkles. Oh, dang it. And I looked over and went, nope, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to have it. But it was tempting because I've always loved donuts, and it was very tempting. But like I say, this time I walked past it. And I wished I had a little more time because I would have grabbed a cup of coffee and talked to more of the parishioners there so I could start making some friends at this new church. But the donuts didn't call me. And then when I read this chapter about withdrawal and to be able to withdraw with joy and to have joy, and that, yes, there'll be a few days, where the little monster, Alan Carr talks about there's two monsters that make you emotionally eat. The little monster is the true, more the physical addiction. And that gives you that itch of, like when you make homemade cookies and you eat one cookie but you're not done with one cookie, because then, an hour later you walk into the kitchen and you're like, you want another cookie. And then an hour later you want another cookie, and you just can't.
Hour.
I know. Jeff is just like, but just keep feeding me the cookies. Yeah. So 5 minutes, I'm ready for another one. Is that physical addiction. And there's a big monster that if you can kill this big monster, it'll be a lot easier. And the big monster is the one that is the psychological addiction that lies to you and says, oh, But if you eat those donuts, you'll feel so much better. You'll have friends. It'll be fun. It'll be so much fun. You'll be so deprived if you don't have a donut. That's that big monster. But if you can kill that big monster, eventually this little monster is just going to die off anyway, because without the big monster telling you that you need it to feel better or whatever, and that it's a big fat liar. You don't need that. And so anyway, I found it a very interesting, very challenging, but very interesting chapter. And I'm not there yet, but I'm getting a lot closer. I'm getting a lot closer to being there. Because like I say, today I walked by those donuts and I thought, next Sunday I can chit chat with people with who are eating these. Because I'd always talk to me, even while I'm taking Mounjaro, but if I'm taking Mounjaro or not, I'm on the seafood diet. I see food, I want to eat it. But if I don't see it when I'm on Mounjaro, I'm not, my stomach used to growl all the time too. I mean, I really felt physically hungry all the time. And as well as psychological, it was a little bit of both. And the Mounjaro helps me to be, to stay fuller longer and not be so growly hungry. And so I can be busy doing things and forget to eat a meal and then be like, oh my gosh, it's 2 or 3 o'clock. I haven't even had lunch yet. And go, oh, I should remember to eat. And I finally get like a little bit, because my sugar's a little bit on the lower side. It's time for me to eat something, and then go on to eat something healthy. But if I see food, like I see Jeff walking around doing crunch and munch kind of things, if I see it, then I'm still on that seafood diet. Then I'm like, oh, that looks good. I want some too. And it doesn't matter what medication I'm taking, that seafood diet. But anyway, I think now I can, after Mass, I can chat with people who are going to be eating a donut in front of me, where I can see that donut. And I'll be all right. I'm going to drink my coffee and just be excited that I'm going to chat with people and make new friends. And I'm going to be okay. And I'm not going to be deprived. So I'll be able to not have to worry about that anymore. Do I feel already now that it'll be that way for everything? I hope so. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I am getting better. I mentioned last week, with last week's chapter, that I had gone to a party, and it was a creative party where we were working on our power words and we were creating vision boards. And I was there for 5 straight hours. And it went into where you would be physically hungry. And they had in the kitchen, and you could see it while you're working, you could see all the snacks. And there was boxes of candies. And when I went up there, the candy didn't call to me at all. Like normally, seafood diet, I would go and I would take breaks, because also procrastinating. Oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next of putting this together. You know what? I think I'll go have a snack, and then I'll come back to it. That would be typical Gina behavior. And I would go to where all the snacks would be. And after 5 hours time, I would have tasted every snack. I would have had a little bit of everything. Well, there was a variety of cookies there. There was a whole bunch of boxed chocolates with lots of different flavors in there. Well, I felt like I had some success in that I looked at the chocolate and went, nah, I don't need that. That's just going to feed my diabetes. I don't want that. And it didn't even call to me. And I felt bad, like, oh, I can't have a chocolate. No, I didn't want it. And there were some cookies there that I went, oh, I've had those cookies before, and those are good, but you know what? Not really worth it. I'm going to have some of this fruits and vegetables. I'm going to have some of this cheese and crackers, and I'm good. But there was one flavor of cookie that I hadn't had for a very long time that I really like, and they're kind of small. But over 5 hours time, I had 3 of those. But that was it for 5 hours time, and everything else I had was fruits and vegetables and a little bit of cheese and crackers, and I did great. So for me, that still was a success because it was so much better than I used to be. But yet, I still had, I still had 3 of those cookies. So I'm not exactly sure, exactly where this will go for me, but I'm not done yet. There's still just, I don't know, like 3 chapters, I think 3 more chapters. But boy, it would be an awesome, freeing, fabulous thing to always feel like I felt like today, coming out of mass and seeing the pretty donuts
They
and
weren't
going,
that pretty.
I don't know. But to see them and go, I think I'd like to chat with these nice people and have a cup of coffee. And that's it. And be fine with that and not feel deprived or anything. Just because I don't need it. So those are my thoughts about this chapter. It also, Alan Carr says in here that at some point he is going to have us have our
Final feast.
Final feast, and he says that's important too, to have a final feast and then be done. And he does say that there'll be, after you have a final feast, because there's a lot of sugar in that final feast, I'm sure. After you have that final feast, the little monster will show up for about 3 or 4 days, giving you that little itch saying, hey, 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 feed me, feed me, feed me. I want more, I want more. But it'll only be a few days, because if we can get rid of this big monster here and know, you know what? Don't need it. Don't need it. Don't want it. Don't need that in my life anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to feed my body things that fuel my body instead of just fuel my fat. That it'll be easy, and it'll be the easy way. So I hope nothing I said triggered anybody. And if I did, I am so sorry, because I do not want anyone to feel bad with this. I'm just going to share where I'm at with it. And I'm hoping that it's going to help somebody else out there. And I can tell you one other fun little story that has Jeff in it. And then I'm going to let Jeff share what he'd like to share. And then I'm going to read your comments. All right.
No,
I'll let you do yours.
You go ahead.
Okay. But it's a fun one that has you in it.
Yes. I want to hear it.
Okay. So years ago, I did Weight Watchers. And before...
I think I've heard this story.
Yes. And before I had children, when Jeff and I were newlyweds. And we were newlyweds, and I was doing Weight Watchers, and we had nothing in the house that was there was zero junk food in the house.
It was Cambodia.
Yeah, Jeff used to call it Cambodia.
Well, the kids eventually called it.
Yeah, our kids used to call it that.
They would call it Cambodia.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, there's nothing to eat here. There's no junk food. We used to tell them, make some toast. Yay, toast! If they were hungry for a snack. But anyway, and peanut butter. We always had peanut butter toast. But I remember I came home from work. I was a teacher. I was an elementary school teacher then. And I had come home from work, and I was so hungry for my little monster was going crazy wanting a treat. It had been a stressful day at school that day. And I came home going, oh my God, there's nothing to scratch this itch. And Jeff came home, and I remember physically jumping on top of Jeff. I knocked him down onto the couch, and I pinned him, and I said, where are the cookies? Where are the cookies? And Jeff was so excited because he was thinking there was cookies in the house.
There are cookies?
Yeah, and Jeff's going, there are cookies. And I was like, yes, where are the cookies? Where are the cookies? And he was just like, wow, wait, there's cookies. Where are the cookies? I'm like, yes, where are the cookies?
Because and for a long time, that was our motto. Where are the cookies?
Where are the cookies? Yeah, so anytime that I've been dieting in the past and I'm really craving a high calorie, no nutrition snack, that is the joke between us is where are the cookies? And so anyway, but Alan Carr says we're going to be just fine. After our final feast, we might have maybe just 3 or 4 days of where are the cookies. But after that, we'll do great and we'll be able to just walk from that. All right, Jeff, and you had a story to tell. What's your story?
Oh, I'm done.
Were you going to tell my where are the cookies story?
I was going to tell another story, but okay. I can't find a picture of it. I'll just tell you the story.
Okay.
When I was reading the chapter today, and I read it through the audiobook, I was thinking, I don't understand. I still don't get the difference between, don't tell me. Okay. Don't tell me. I don't understand the difference between the little monster and the big monster. So I went into Google and asked AI, can you tell me what the difference between these two things are? And it said something like about the big monster, that it was the idea that you have in your head, like brainwashing, basically, that whatever it is that is your addictive substance, like with some people, it might be cigarettes, or it might be drugs, or it might be sugar, or it might be just eating junk food. Whatever that is, you have it brainwashed into your head and embedded deeply there that it's going to do something positive for you, when really it won't. And you know what? It was easier for me to think of that with regard to things like smoking or drugs, because I can easily tell, no, nicotine, that's not good for you. I know that's not good for you. It gives you lung cancer, or all the things that smoking can do, or using drugs. It's a little bit harder, but it was a good example for me to be able to understand what that big monster is. And then, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. No, you could put that down. Okay. Because actually, I think, from what I read anyway, is that the goal is to kill the big monster. Yes. And then the little monster will nag at you a little bit, but, and I'll tell you about. If he doesn't get fed, he'll die. And there's a way to make it not get fed, I think. And I'll talk about that in just a second here. I've also been looking at some other videos and stuff online about glucose spikes and stuff like that, and how that's really kind of bad for your brain to get glucose spikes, and it's up and then it's low, and then it's up and then it's low. The brain really likes it to be like a steady level of glucose to feed it and to help it run. Well, I don't know if you've read about some of the studies that are saying that overeating sugar and stuff like that, and having glucose spikes all the time, can help you get like dementia or Alzheimer's. Yeah, they call that type 3 diabetes is dementia, where in your brain you have insulin resistance and it ends up starving part of your brain. That's why your brain's rotting. If you have dementia. In any event, I've seen some people, not too many, but some, who have died of dementia. And I don't want to do that. I have a friend who died of dementia a week ago. And sometimes when I have brain fog, I just say to Gina, oh, I guess dementia's kicking in. But you know what? That's one of the things that I can remember, that doing the glucose spikes, that's not good for me. I know it promises from my brainwashing that, I'm going to feel really good when that big monster is going to try to convince me that it's good for me and it's something fun and valuable and positive, when really I don't want to get dementia. And I'm not real keen on brain fog either. Right. So that was one thing. And I remember also the second thing here is when I went in to see my bladder cancer urologist. and he talked about, the importance of having a good diet, because sugar can feed the cancer. And I think at the time I was already shell shocked from being told I had cancer, and is this going to work to get the cancer out? But I've thought on that a little bit more lately, saying in my mind that, I don't want to feed that cancer if it's going to come, because it can come back, and bladder cancer is one of those cancers that it has a high recurrence rate.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do anything that will help it to come back. And you know what? If I'm trying to reverse that brainwashing that, sugar spikes are good and positive and fun, well, feeding your cancer is not a fun thing to think about either. So I thought, if I combine those kinds of things and remember those, it can kind of wipe out the brainwashing that the big monster is. Then the third piece of the things that happened this week, Gina.
Yeah.
Last night, Gina made some roasted vegetables.
Oh yeah.
There were bell peppers, red and yellow, I think, and there was zucchini, and there was hold on, don't tell me, mushrooms and onion, and was there anything else? Is that it?
And asparagus.
And she used some of this fancy olive oil and some fancy infused vinegar on it.
Yeah, it was coconut infused white balsamic vinegar. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
And it was really good. And you know what? The vinegar didn't have any sugar in it, but it tasted sweet. And so my third point, and I think this will help me,
and the olive oil was infused with a spicy green chili in it. Oh, it was really good.
With the little monster this is like a little itch trying to get me to fall for what the big monster's promise is. And if I can just distract the little monster enough, it'll like go away. And once that happens, then the big monster won't have a crack in the door to be able to come in so easy. And the way I think I will do that is like Alan Carr says about your favorite food. Those vegetables, they were really good.
They were really good.
I could have just said, no, I'm not going to have any vegetables, Gina. I'm going to first find something sweet to eat first. I wasn't even thinking I was distracting the little monster by having the vegetables, but it did. It fed me and satisfied me in a way.
And filled you too.
Yes, in a way that felt good. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? That's all I really need. If I can distract this little guy with some of our favorite foods, meaning the foods that are really good for us, that actually do give us satisfaction, not calorie dense, but nutrient dense.
Yeah.
That maybe that's the point here. And I think then thinking of those two things, that helps me understand better the little monster and getting rid of this. But first, I think I got to kill the big monster. And I think making those connections in my brain to replace the brainwashing of all the advertisement and such that is making me think that glucose spike stuff is good for me. It's not, and that's going to be the key.
Oh, that's really good, dear. That is really good. All right. Hey, and we have some other people here that have been writing some of their thoughts too. So I want to let's read and see what you all have to say. This is live right now, so if you have any thoughts, please put it in the chat. And if you are watching this on replay, if you write a comment in the comment section, I promise within a couple of days or so, and sometimes within a few minutes, it just depends when I'm on my phone, but I will respond to those as well. Okay. Let's see. We got Sandra in the house. Yay, she's catching us live again today. And we got Lucy from England, from the UK. Oh, thanks. Thanks so much. I got my hair cut this week.
Isn't she
And
cute?
aw, thanks, sweetie. Hey, not only do we have Mindy in the house today, we truly are going to have Mindy in the house tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mindy is going to be my special guest, where you're going to be able to see a video of her talking to us live, Q&A with Mindy on tomorrow on my Mounjaro Monday live. So definitely you're going to want to come back and hear her story. And Mindy has lost a whole bunch of weight on taking Mounjaro, but she also is just a rock star doing triathlons and stuff that she's been training for. She's a very inspiring friend in our group, and so excited that we get to have her on the screen chatting with us tomorrow. Claudia says, hello, Miss Gina. Greetings from California. Yay. Aw, good to have you, Claudia. Aw, Gina, you are not alone, lovely. Oh, thank you so much. I know it's so hard for all of us. I do appreciate that obesity is finally being seen as a disease by doctors and researchers, and by that happening, hopefully at some point we're going to be able to start erasing it out of people's lives. That would be so awesome.
And some of that might be helped, Gina,
Mm-hmm.
just by eating our favorite foods, meaning the nutrient-dense foods, and getting off of the ultra-processed,
Ultra-high processed
food.
is really hard. Even on Mounjaro, but Mounjaro is so helpful, you guys. It truly is helpful. But even if you're on Mounjaro, if you're not eating a lot of, I'll notice if in my day, if I start off my day and I were to have like toast, I don't know, and I'm going to be hungrier quicker, because it gives you the spike and then it gives you the drop. But if I start off my day with breakfast and I have eggs or egg bites, I get the frozen egg bites, or I can even make my own. You can make your own little scrambled egg, put it in a cup, like in a muffin tin, and stick it in the freezer.
Bake it first.
Yeah, bake it first and then put it in the freezer. You can heat it up in the microwave in just a couple of minutes, pretty fast. And so delicious. So anyway, if I have like a little bit of eggs, or, I'm being sure that I have a good amount of protein with my breakfast, I might forget to have lunch because I'm just so satisfied. But if I'm eating more carbs with not enough protein with it, then I'll get hungrier faster. And so some of it still is even under the medication, it makes a difference to be sure I'm eating enough protein and vegetables. This chapter was really hard for me too. I don't buy the withdrawal is not painful. Yeah, it was tough. Because all the times in the past, though, Alan Carr says, it's because in the past you were doing it on willpower and you were trying to use willpower to get off the bad food. But willpower alone isn't good enough, because you still have
the big monster,
that you're fighting with while you're trying to do your willpower. And his thing is, no, you'll just not want it anymore. That you will have killed that big monster, and you won't believe that that's where your pleasure comes from. So, which is really interesting. I mean, it's just it is extra hard for those.
But I agree.
But
it's like,
yeah,
that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. That's why we had a hard time coming up with, like, what are we going to do for the thumbnail for this one? Because I was like, well, he's trying to say in the book that withdrawal is joyful when you do it the easy way. When you've slayed this big monster, it's just like, when you slay the big monster first, it's just a relief. You feel so much lighter because this big monster is weighing you down. He's just constantly
it doesn't
weighing
look ferocious,
you down.
Gina.
I know. I need an ugly monster. He's too dang cute. but he's kind of gaslighting me. I'm so cute and you need me.
That's
No,
right,
I don't.
yeah.
That's the gaslighting of it, and weighing you down, and you just boom, get rid of that big monster. And then it's like, that you just feel this freedom and joy, and you don't need it anymore. And then you get the little bit, 3 or 4 days where it just feels like a little itch that you want to scratch with this little monster. But you're not feeding it because the big monster isn't telling you need it. And it just dies out, just starves to death. It's gone. And he says, like 3 weeks later, you'll forget that you even ever had that big monster hanging over you. And then you'll realize, wow, all that crappy food doesn't call me anymore.
But
I'm
I
not
still think though
missing it.
that if you can replace the eating of the foods that are maybe high calorie, low nutrient with something which is high nutrient, and that
And
was
make
really
it
good last night. Yeah,
tasty.
if it's
So,
tasty,
Yeah,
you
I was
can
gonna
distract it
do
enough.
and I probably will do a quick video later where it's not a live, because I wanted to do something, just one more quick thing about doing a power word. But I did finally pick
Wait a minute, Gina.
my power word for
Let me show
2025.
this.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the roasted vegetables. Actually, this was from a few days ago. This one also includes some sweet potatoes. But
Yeah.
That's very, number one, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It was tasty. And you know what? While I was eating this, I wasn't thinking of, oh, I should eat something else afterwards. Even it was just I ate
good.
that first in my meal, and it was delicious.
Mm-hmm. It was so good. So, and it works with what my power word is. So my power word for 2025 is explore. I went ahead and went with that one. I go this direction.
It's hard with reflection.
It is hard with reflection. Yeah. But what I want to explore traveling on our other YouTube channel, Anchor Moments RV, and taking our van RV out and exploring the United States and Canada. I've only been to just like a handful of states, so I really need to explore more. But I also want to explore. Can they sway this direction? I have to do the opposite. Eating new vegetables, new vegetables and new fruits, and finding new, better, tasty recipes. So that way I can explore new flavors and healthy flavors. And so like it's new for me to be roasting vegetables, and especially in using fancy vinegars. That's kind of fun to get some flavor infused vinegars and some flavor infused oils, olive oil, which is still good for you, and putting it together and creating things that are really, really tasty as well as nutritious. So, and Jeff's this power word is embrace. So, and he wants to embrace traveling without being so nervous. Because he's a little bit nervous, because I made him this last trip. We drove through the mountains of Colorado, and it was a little scary.
It was a little scary,
but it was fun. It was exciting, and we got to explore really good places.
The best part was we didn't fall off a cliff.
And we didn't fall off a cliff. We're still here for you. Okay. But I totally understand, Sandra. This was a hard one. This was a hard one. Sandra says, what this book has given me is the ability to separate enjoying food, all foods, when I am hungry, instead of using food to cope with emotions. I can see the difference in myself.
Wow.
Yay! That's a huge win, Sandra. That is a huge, huge win. And Sandra says, the judgment of food is gone when I am truly hungry. Yeah. Just like when I talked before on one of the other chapters, I had talked about the green bean test. And that was something that I did learn from Weight Watchers, that if you find yourself in the pantry and it's not dinner time and you're like, oh, I'm hungry, pull out a can of green beans and open it up and have a green bean. And if you have a green bean and you're like, nah, this isn't it, you're not truly hungry. but if you eat that green bean, you're like, oh, no, this is good. You're really hungry, and then, so, probably you do need to eat a little something. But yeah. Candy says, where are the cookies? It's like, where's the beef?
Right.
Oh, I know, that old Wendy's commercial.
Where are the cookies?
Where are the cookies? And where's the beef? Remember that old lady?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that was such a funny commercial. Oh my gosh, exactly. And that's what it was like. But I mean, it's seriously, and I was a teeny little thing back then. And I just knocked Jeff down. I mean, I came at him just wow, and
She was
smacked
intense.
him down.
And I couldn't believe it. Like, what?
Yeah, and he was
There
just,
are cookies?
there's
I didn't know
cookies,
there
and
were
he was just so
cookies.
excited that there would be cookies. But oh my
Anyway.
gosh, so funny. Mindy says, thanks for being open, Gina. I find a lot of this book to be triggering and a little too black and white for my taste. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard one. That being said, I'm still pulling a few nuggets to find helpful. Yeah, and you know what? We're going to be reading some other books too. And there'll be some things that you'll take from that book and go, oh, I like that idea. And you'll take it and utilize it in your life, and it's going to make your life better. But then there's going to be other things in any of these books that we read that you'll go, meh, I don't know if I'm going to totally go with that, but boy, this nugget right here, that's going to be helpful. But yeah, this was hard. And it was also hard for me, full disclosure, I'm just reading it along with you guys. It took a lot of chapters to really describe what emotional eating is. But you know what? I know what emotional eating is. So I read and be like, yeah. Tell me something I don't know. Let's go. And it seemed like it was a lot of chapters of telling me, I promise you, all these things, you've been brainwashed, and they do things to your food to add more salt and sugar and, oh my gosh, high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff to get you addicted. And so a lot of talk about, that too, and what emotional eating looks like. And I was like, well, yeah, I know. I've been living it. I got it. Yes. Tell me how this is going to end for me, so that way I don't have this problem anymore. And so it does take a while to get there, but now we're starting to get to the nitty gritty of it. And hopefully it'll do the trick. And Mindy says, no foods are off limits for me, but I like thinking about whether food is nourishing my body or not. I might still eat fun foods, but I will do it consciously. Yeah. And you know what, Mindy? I've thought about that a lot. It's what helped me when Jeff and I went on our last trip. We were gone for a month this fall. And while we were gone for 4 weeks, usually on vacation, I lose 5 pounds, or I gain. Oh gosh, I wish I'd be like wanting to be gone all the time. I never want to be home. No, I would gain between 5 pounds and 11 pounds. 11 is the most that I ever gained in a week's vacation. And 5 pounds was the least amount I've gained in a week's vacation. And that's what it's been like for me all my life since before I started Mounjaro. And when we went this time, I'd never gone 4 weeks before. This was new, but Jeff's recently retired, so we could do it. In 4 weeks in the van, I lost 1 pound. I lost a pound. I didn't gain any pounds in 4 weeks' time. I actually was down 1 pound when I got home. I couldn't believe it. Now, I still had some fun foods with Jeff, but what I did different, I did some things differently. Like I made him stop the van every hour for either a go to the bathroom pit stop or to get a quarter of a tank of gas pit stop. And when we would do these pit stops every single hour, the second we got out of the van, I would just take off as fast as I could. And I'd try to get at least 500 steps in before getting back in the van. And and I'd go to the bathroom too, if you're, and, but that made a difference. So I was getting, I was getting some exercise, a little bit, every hour. And then I also, I would pack nutritional food that I would have. We almost always had breakfast in the van because, I had my high protein Catalina Crunch cereal that I could have with my Fairlife milk on it, or those spinach egg frittatas by Veggie Bites that are frozen and individually wrapped that I could throw in a minute and 11 seconds in the microwave. I had things in the van that very nutritious for breakfast and easy. And then I would have either lunch or dinner in the van. And I brought my roasted pear butternut squash soup, which I do have the recipe, a video of me making it on my Anchor Moments channel. And I also had homemade chili that had a lot of beans in it, as well as a little bit of lean ground beef. Maybe have some of that. But there'd be one meal we'd eat every day that was out, because we were traveling, and we would eat at a restaurant, and I would enjoy something there, and I didn't know how many calories were in it, but I would try to pick a healthy selection. But it's always more calorie dense than if you cook something at home. And when we went to Saugatuck, Michigan, by golly, there was a fudge shop, and we had some fudge. I mean, it was and it was the most beautiful fudge shop, and they had all the little things. And I had a little bit of fudge, and I didn't worry about it because I was like, you know what, I'm on vacation, and I don't want to, because I've had in the past, but I was doing the willpower thing.
Mm-hmm.
Under the willpower thing, I had in the past where the worst vacation I had, where I gained the 11 pounds, was right after I'd lost 47 pounds. And it's on this YouTube channel. It's all documented. We called it the 444 plan. And then we went on a week-long vacation with my family where we had all kinds of food.
Junk food mostly.
Oh, and it was everywhere. And so many of us, I don't know how many of us there was there. I don't know, like 15 of us or something in the house. And lots of eating, lots of drinking, lots of all of that stuff. And when I got back, I'd gained 11 pounds in a week, which was so depressing. And I had all these months where I was trying to avoid a lot of that kind of food. And then once I had and had so much of it, it was so hard for me to not have it and to get back on the bandwagon again. Whereas this time, what I want this time to be different is, I don't want to think of this as I'm on a diet. I'm on a healthy lifestyle journey. And I want this journey to last, so I have a nice, long, healthy life until I finally pass away. And so that it doesn't end. It's not a start, stop, or whatever. And so if I'm going on a special trip, or it's our anniversary or whatever, that I can have a little treat and it won't be off limits. But at the same time, I have plenty of healthy recipes that I'm doing my healthy recipes starting the next day. And we did that when we came home from our vacation. It was so easy to continue all of our healthy lifestyle stuff. And so I haven't lost a whole bunch of weight, but I didn't gain any weight. And I'm still on a very slow, but still going down and not going up. So I'm maintaining, and then a smidge down, then maintaining, then a smidge down is kind of how I've been rolling. And Jeff too, and he doesn't take any medications. He doesn't have type 2 diabetes, and he didn't have any weight issues until he hit his 50s. But yeah, you've lost, I think, just about the same amount of weight as me. Maybe even a smidgen more. He's tall. Aren't you down about 40 something?
I don't know. I'd have to do the math.
You have to do the math. He'll tell us tomorrow. Do the math and you can tell us tomorrow. But anyway, so I've been battling that too while reading this book, just because you've got to know yourself as well. And that's part of this journey that we're on together. is that I want all of us to learn a little bit more about ourselves and what's going to work for us, because we're all a little different. We're in different parts of the country. I noticed there's some people that watch from Australia. No one has told me they're from Australia yet in the comments, but when you have a YouTube channel, it shows you your analytics of where people are watching. But there's some people who are watching me from India, which I think, wow, that's so cool. They haven't said anything in the comments yet, but they're welcome to. But there's people all over the world, and we have different life experiences. We have different opportunities. There's just a lot of different things, and our bodies are all different. Even, especially on this Mounjaro journey, it's been, some people have some really horrible side effects where they really can't take the medication. They try it for a little bit, but they have to get off. Their side effects are just too terrible. And there's others that don't have any side effects at all, other than some weight loss, or that their A1C gets so much better. There's just so many, we're all a little bit different, but I'm hoping that we can all learn from each other and find some things that we can learn about ourselves that's going to work the best for us. But I am no longer going to worry about donuts. I'm just going to think about my burning feet and go, gee, I really want diabetic neuropathy? I don't think so. Diabetic neuropathy does not taste good to me.
I didn't stop for any donuts either, Gina.
I know, I'm proud
of
you.
And they weren't really calling my name, because I was thinking of the things that.
But
the
first week they did.
Yeah.
So I got to be honest. The first week that we walked past them, I was like, oh, I hope they don't do this every Sunday, because I really do like this mass and I really like this priest. But I don't know. Can I walk past these donuts every week? And now it's like, whatever. That they're not even calling me anymore. So I think the book has been helping. Hey, we got Deb in the house. Hey, Deb. And Deb, that's not her favorite book either. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But it does have some, there are some good things in it, but it hasn't been the easiest one.
It may be easier to understand the examples in the context of trying to quit smoking, maybe. Mm-hmm. And the way I look at it is, you have to eat food to live, mm-hmm. and you don't have to smoke in order to live. And so some of the examples I think fit better for smoking. It's easier to see with smoking, that's not doing anything for me.
That's poison.
The brainwashing said, it'll make me relax, it'll make me do this or do that. And really, I know it's going to give me lung cancer or emphysema or something like that.
Right. Actually, I had a really good Weight Watcher leader years ago, and she talked about food addiction as a lion in a cage. And she said, all kinds of addictions, you can put it in a cage, alcohol, tobacco, other things, you can put it in a cage, but you have to eat to live. So you've got to unlock that cage and take that ferocious lion out, because it has to be fed. You have to eat. You have to eat. And so you have to deal with that addiction until you die. In some ways, she said, you got to figure out how to deal with that addiction until you die, because you have to eat. Where the other ones, you can kill it by not eating it. You don't need, by not having it. You don't need cigarettes. You don't need cigarettes to survive. You need food to survive. And so it's one of the hardest addictions, because you still have to eat something, and you need, to be able to live too. So it's a toughie. And Lucy says, I've realized that food has been feeding my dopamine addiction. I have now started doing jigsaws on an evening instead of eating junk. Each time I put a piece in the puzzle, I get a dopamine hit. Hey, that's really cool, Lucy. That is a great idea. That is an absolutely wonderful idea. And I know when I am busy working on a project that I'm not thinking about it. And doing something else fun. You know what's fun for me? talking with you guys. I look forward to our Sunday book club lives, and I look forward to our Mounjaro Monday lives. Jeff's favorite hobby here, learning new songs. Do you have a song for us?
No.
Oh, he has to worry about copyrights because we're on YouTube.
Some chords legally.
There you go, some chords.
No one owns the chords.
No one owns the chords.
You know what? I highly suggest and recommend. Oh, I'm not a doctor of ukulele or anything, but I highly suggest if you're looking for something fun and a cheap. This is like a $30 instrument, and it only has 4 strings, and you can learn to play them very easily. So anyway, I recommend that. If you're looking for something giving you a dopamine hit that doesn't involve eating, that can even distract you while you let your little monster die.
And puzzles, that's so great. And puzzles aren't expensive at all,
No.
But they're fun. That is really cool. And and that's kind of a cool way to kill your big monster too. You can have fun in other ways. Even when we were on our trip, it was so fun stopping and seeing friends and relatives. It was fun. We went through a cave. That was fun. Experiencing things, going on walks. Oh, I loved going on walks by the Grand Canyon. They even have a big sidewalk along the Grand Canyon along the south rim. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. But there are other things. So maybe making a list of all the things that you enjoy doing other than eating junk food, but a list of other things that you enjoy doing, and then do those. And so that way you still get that dopamine hit. That is a fantastic idea. Thank you so much, Lucy, for sharing that. And Lucy says, I agree there's some really harsh truth bombs in this book, but for me, I needed to hear it. Yeah, and exactly. And there are some people that really do connect to this book, and it's going to be the best because they're going to be able to just walk away from that big monster and have joy and feel just joy and freedom. I know Robin, she's not on right now, but she's on almost every week. She'll probably be catching us on replay, but she highly, highly recommended this book because she read Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking, and she had smoked for 27 years and loved smoking. And that book changed her life. It changed her life, and she was able to quit cold turkey and never look back. And she's not smoked for a lot of years that she has not smoked because she read his first book about quitting smoking. So she was really excited that we were going to read this book and find it helpful too. So there's, just like we're all a little different.
Not me.
But but hopefully some of these things will resonate. And for someone, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, this was the best book ever. And so it just depends. It just depends. But there's a lot of truth bombs in it. That is very true. And there are takeaways, even if it's not your favorite book, which I understand, because for me it was challenging, but I have some really good takeaways from it, even though it's been a challenging book for me. And Mindy says, yes, Maxie, and Lucy and Maxie is the same. I use other things to distract myself now too. Yeah. I'm excited to come on tomorrow. Oh my gosh, yes. It's going to be so fun to have you, Mindy. And I'm so proud of Mindy, because even when she was at her heaviest, she was doing 5Ks. Wow. 5Ks. You guys, that's over 3 miles in a race. And that's my Freestyle Libre telling me that it just ended and I need to put a new one on.
Okay.
That's what that was. I'm not having a sugar low. And so anyway, so excited to have you. And you guys, seriously, you want to come on tomorrow and you want to come live so that way you can ask Mindy questions and you'll be able to hear her voice just like you're hearing mine and see her. And she's given me pictures of her befores and afters and everything. And Mindy, I'm going to be emailing you right after this a couple of things about tomorrow. So be checking your email. And but I'm super excited to have you. And Lucy says, I'll watch it on catch up for sure. Yeah, because it will be 7:00 Arizona time tomorrow, which is 6:00 Pacific, 8:00 Central in the evening, 9:00 Eastern, and like 2 a.m. in the UK. So sorry about that, but definitely you can always write comments and we'll on replay and we'll answer them. And Robin says, a different Robin, our other Robin says, greetings from the frozen tundra of Wisconsin. Oh, I love Wisconsin. I really enjoy that you're educating us on weight loss drugs. Thank you so much. I just took my second shot of zepbound. So far, so good. Great. And Robin, I have a playlist of my Mounjaro journey from week 1 all the way. Tomorrow's going to be week number 55. And when you have any questions, you can always ask during a live on Sundays or on Mondays. And if you have a question, I'll be sure to answer it the best that I can.
She's not a doctor.
But I'm not a doctor. But I'll tell you, maybe you should ask your doctor. Da, 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 da. But sometimes you need to know what questions to ask your doctor, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really good at that. I will fill you up with stuff like that. And Mindy says, congrats, Robin. It is life-changing. Oh my gosh, it is. Yet not only have I lost weight, but my A1C, remember I told you at the beginning of this video, this live today, that when I found out I had type 2 diabetes, my A1C was 10.2 in the suicide range. And now it's 5.6, which is in the normal range. It's not even in the elevated. It's the high end of normal, but normal blood sugar. Wow. So it's, and I had stage 1 non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And after 8 months on Mounjaro, I had my liver ultrasounded again. Gone. No more fatty liver disease. Absolutely wiped out. I'm at stage 0. They called it 0. And it's the first time in my life I was super excited to be called a 0. So it's good stuff. And my knees don't hurt anymore. I can walk up and down stairs, just up and down, and my knees are great. So that just life-changing. And Mindy says, is anyone else feeling bad for the teddy bears?
She needs to get one that's more of a monster.
I know. They're awfully cute. But I figure,
yeah,
but I think it, just like some gaslighting monsters, they're so cute.
Right.
But causing me troubles. But I know they are stupid cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, and who said happy? Oh my God. Hey, Cindy, Taz the Bulldog's mom. I'm on the rampage looking for you too. I'm going to need you to email me. I would love to also have you as a guest on my show. I think it would be a hoot and a holler. Whenever you are ready, please let me know. And tomorrow we get to have Mindy, yay, which is so exciting. Yay. And Cindy says, hi, Mindy, loved your last video. You and Gina and Barb inspired me to start my own channel, but it's all about Tennessee. I appreciate your videos. We're just buddies, Cindy, and I can give you advice about that too. That'll be awesome, and you'll have to let us know. So, your Tennessee, because I know you have some things about your bulldog. Does it have a different name? But let us know what the name of your Tennessee channel is too, so we can look you up. That'll be fun. Yay! And come explore North Carolina. I think that was the word I chose for you. You know what? Explore may have been, and I love it. That's the one that really rang with me. And I can't remember if you were the one that gave me that last little oomph that also like explore the world through the eyes of my grandson as well. There's so many things I could do with explore new hobbies, explore a lot of new opportunities, and to really look with my eyes open and explore. And we're coming to North Carolina. I can't tell you for sure exactly when, but we are headed your way. We're going to go to, where's your sister live in North Carolina?
Wilmington.
Wilmington. So I hope you're somewhere near that area, because that'd be like crazy easy to be able to see you, Mindy, and I'll be able to see you in person too. Maybe we'll do a second video together where we're like side by side. Wouldn't that be fun? And Lucy says, yes, we have to eat, but we don't have to eat junk.
That is true.
Exactly. And I still think before I eat something, is this going to fuel my body, or is it going to fuel my fat? But when I was in Saugatuck, Michigan, I was okay with fueling my fat just a little bit. but everything else I ate was fueling my body for sure. And Mindy says, I'll answer comments after the live too. Great. Thank you, Mindy. Yeah. And in the comments, yeah. Because, some people are going to just catch us on replay, and they're going to have a question that they're really going to want an answer from you. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind watching that would be great. We had Pam, was it last week or the week before? Maybe the week before we had Pam. Oh my gosh. Pam was awesome. Awesome too. And Barb. And Robin says, I'll definitely be checking more of your videos out. Yay! Thanks, Robin. And anyone else here, if you are new to Anchor Moments, if you like what we've been sharing so far, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. It really does make a difference. It lets YouTube know that this video is interesting, and then it'll find more people to share it with. And Robin says, a good friend of mine passed away 2 weeks ago today from fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That is really hard.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. Wow. I've not known anyone yet. I didn't even know it was a thing. When I found out I had it, it was because there was an opportunity that I could be in a medical study about fatty liver disease, and they would pay you to take some medicine or whatever. But they were like, it was only 10 minutes from my house to go to to this liver place, and where they had liver doctors. So I went just to check it out and see, and they scanned my liver and said, oh, you have stage 1 non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And then they showed me a picture of a fatty liver and what it looks like at stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. Stage 4 is really scary. I'm not sure if you can reverse stage 4 or not. But what they did say is that the liver is the most amazing organ, and it's possible for it to heal itself, though it can't do it by itself. I mean, it needs help. But it can be reversed, and they said I was at stage 1 non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and they said let's test you again a year from now. I didn't have enough fatty liver disease to be in the studies to take the medication. I think they were looking for stage 2 or higher, so they're like, come back in a year. It might grow and you'll be stage 2 next year. Or if you're really good with your diet and exercise, you might be able to reverse this. And for your sake, we hope you can reverse it, because the liver is something that can heal as long as you do things to help it heal. So I was like, okay. And I left. And then a few months later, I started taking Mounjaro in January. And I think I had my test in August. And then 8 months later in August, it was either August or the beginning of September, I went in, and when they scanned it and it was a 0, the doctor came in and she was so excited for me. And she's like, I mean, it's gone. It is gone. You totally erased it. What did you do? And I told her that I'd been taking Mounjaro and I had lost about 30 pounds or so, or 25, I don't know, wherever it was at that point. And I'd been exercising and trying to eat better. And she said, well, it did the trick. And she also told me about Mounjaro. And she said, there's a Mounjaro study right now being done by Eli Lilly to see with people who have fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, to see if taking Mounjaro can reverse it. And it's in, I think, stage 2 at, I don't know, back in August, it was in a stage 2 trial, and it was showing some really good results. So I'm not the only one who's had their fatty liver disease reversed by being on Mounjaro or Zepbound. So anyway, I'm so sorry about your friend though. So evidently, your friend had at least, I don't know if there's a stage 5. The liver that they showed me, it was up to stage 4. There was 0 where it's a clean liver, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And oh gosh, that is scary. That is scary and sad and sad. And Mindy says, Cindy, are you thinking about Mindy Pedersen? Different Mindy. I don't have a channel. Yeah, there is. And you know what? Mindy Pedersen, I've watched her channel too. And I asked her, gosh, months ago in a comment, asked her if she'd be willing to be a guest on my show. And she said she would. So I've got to reach back out to her too to see if she'd, to have her on. So yeah, there is another Mindy who's also been on GLP-1s for a long time and has lost a lot of weight, and she's still working on it. But this Mindy here is one of our Anchor Moments Mindys, and she's always here in the chat on our lives, and we just love her to pieces. So it's going to be super exciting to be able to have her tomorrow. And Mindy says, you should be able to stop in Charlotte on your way to Wilmington. Is that where you're at, Charlotte? I've always wanted to go to Charlotte. That would be fun and beautiful, I hear. Candy says, I now feel I eat to live, not live to eat. That's so awesome, Candy. You know, my grandmother was always thin, thin her whole life. She lived to be 90. She was thin, and she lived to be 97. But I remember my grandma pulling me aside and telling me, Gina, you live to eat. And I said, yeah, of course, you know. And she said, no, you don't understand, Gina. You and all the members of your family, you all live to eat. I don't. I eat to live. But you guys live to eat. And I was like, what? And because it kind of confused me at first. And she said, you know, Gina, to be honest, I hate eating. I'm doing something and I'm working on a project. And it's like, dang it, I gotta stop because I'm hungry. Now I gotta make myself something to eat. She felt eating was a chore. A chore. Even wrap my head around that, because to me, whenever I get hungry, it's like, yay, I'm hungry. Oh, that means whatever I'm going to eat is going to taste extra good because I'm hungry or whatever. But not my grandma. She found eating to be a chore. Was not her thing, because she only ate to live instead of living to eat. But my whole the rest of my family, we were just foodies. We loved eating. I know. Gosh, Robin, that's so hard. You're welcome. Okay. Well, I think we got through all this. Was there anything you think I missed from the book that was extra important? I know one other thing I forgot to mention that they put in this chapter that was important was that they said about withdrawal, that people are scared of withdrawal. So they're afraid, like, oh, I can't stop eating my junk food because I'll go through withdrawal. It'll be so painful. And they said, you know what? Alan Carr's like, not really. You're already going through this pain all the time anyway, because once you eat the junk food, then a little bit later, you'll go through withdrawal and you need it again and again and again and again. You're already doing it. But when you totally decide you're done, you're not doing it anymore, you're killing that big monster, you're done with it, it's not any different than what you're already experiencing, except it's going to get fewer and fewer and fewer and then just die out. And then you're never going to experience it again. So you're actually freeing yourself from having those feelings by quitting. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I think that was the only thing I forgot that was super important that I forgot to mention from this chapter. But if there's something else that you read and you're like, oh, Gina, but you didn't, da 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 da, please put it in the comments on the replay, because I would love to hear from you and your thoughts, good or bad. If you love the book, hate the book, whatever. I didn't write it. You're not going to hurt my feelings with that. Whatever your experience is with this book so far, let us know. And if you've had any good wins and good takeaways, share those too. All right, everybody, hold on to your anchor moments and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.